And we're back with our final segment of 2009. And I think you had our first segment of 2009.
Time flies when you're enjoying yourself.
It does. And you're here tonight or today, talk to us about support for the troops, both those away, those here, and then the families for the ones that are away, that are left behind.
It is something we need to talk about.
And I think what an appropriate subject for our last segment of the year. So I'll put the ball in your court.
Well, being retired military, I kind of know what it's like to be deployed, being away from family, and having the family back home and having to fend for themselves, whoever's back. And now it's not just husbands that go anymore. The wives are deployed. Husband may be staying back with the kids. So the dynamic changes a little bit. But whoever's back home has to do everything now that the other spouse helped do. And so they've got their own special tasks, and those who are deployed, they don't have the comfort of the company of their loved ones. They don't have the warm bed at night that they had before. So the holidays get to be a especially trying time for them.
And then you have to try to put on the face of normalcy. I mean, you're still decorating the tree, putting lights up and so forth, to keep it normal for the kids.
And that's really important. And also good for the adults, because life does go on, and you have to continue on. And that's one of the remarkable things I saw through my military career, was what our military spouses put up with, what they can tolerate, what they sign up for. They don't know what they sign up for when they enter the military with their loved one. And it can be quite trying at times. It can put everybody on edge with the absence and the lack of communication. Of course, communication today is so much better. I mean, during my year of Vietnam, the best we had was an occasional Mars call. I love you, honey, over. And now you've still got email at most locations. But there are things that we can do to help the families and those who are deployed.
Now they have the video phones, so many of them talk almost daily or weekly.
And they have, you saw during graduation season this June, they were video webcasting graduation ceremonies for troops so they could see their young'uns graduate. Some have even seen the birth of their children. How remarkable is that?
Well, what are some particular stresses that are placed on families, aside from things like missing graduations and birthdays?
Well, one of the biggest, I think, are things go bad. The dryer quits working, or something that they're not used to handling. Somebody else would take care of that. Or just having to make decisions that they normally wouldn't be making, and afraid to make that decision or this decision, and maybe being criticized for it. And normally it'd be something you'd talk about to fix a problem. And now you're just on your own, and you hope that the decision you make is good. And the communication breakdown, because no matter, there's not always times when you can get answers to questions. So communication isn't perfect still, but it is better than it was.
Do you find handling lots of military cases and divorce as well? Does divorce go up during deployments, or is it they wait till they come home, or some of the additional stress that's caused?
I don't see a great increase during the first half. The second half, you'll start seeing some increase, and that's from both sides. Those who are deployed may be contacting my office for help in that area, and those back home. And usually it's because the one back home has lost interest and found another interest. That may be one reason. Or the communication just has broken down so much that they can't handle the stress. They can't talk about it or deal with it. And hopefully in those cases there aren't children. Where there are children, I urge the folks, don't make the decision while deployed on either side, husband or wife. Don't make such an important, life-altering decision about divorce while deployed. Wait until the person's back. You can deal with it then. And get counseling. That's the first option, is see if the marriage can be saved or should be saved. But that's an important concern.
Will the military send them back for divorce hearings?
No.
So
no, not generally.
That's just over?
No. There is a Soldier and Sailor Civil Relief Act that if, let's say, the spouse that's here, wants to file, the whole thing can be put on hold through an application to the court under the Soldier and Sailor Civil Relief Act because he is mission essential and can't be returned.
What are some of the reasons that someone could be brought back, aside from their own personal health?
Well, sometimes, depend upon what they're doing and where they are and how essential they are to the mission. I mean, if you're a Black Hawk pilot, you're probably not coming back. If you're just a clerk typist somewhere, maybe you could come back for the death of a close loved one or something of that nature. So every situation is a little different.
Okay, on a more positive note, I know you were recently named Veteran of the Year, and we mentioned it a couple of shows ago. And the veterans organizations are doing a lot to help the current troops. What kind of things are they doing?
Well, and the veterans organizations are stepping up to the plate. I mean, you've got the American Legion, VFW, Disabled American Veterans, a Purple Heart, our civilian-based Red Cross, and the USO. All of those are stepping up to the plate and giving support. And there's a lot that folks can do that want to help.
Now, as a Vietnam veteran yourself, is that a lot different than what you kind of support you got from Korea and World War II veterans?
Well, I think it's a little greater in quantity for this period of time than it was in Vietnam, except people said they weren't well treated by the world. Well, my world was my family. They treated me well. I brought this picture. This is what my Pamela sent to me in a care package with brownies while I was in Vietnam. I still have it. I treasure it. So care packages are still a great method to show the troops that here's a little taste of home. Send it to them. Put things in there that they need. If you see somebody wearing a pin like this with a star, that means they have a family member on active duty. Say hello to them and thank them for their sacrifice as well. And I want to mention one thing. There is a program called Adopt a Soldier. Carol McGathlin has taken great lead in that. Carol welcomes folks who want to help. Her email is Carol, C-A-R-O-L, McGathlin, M-E-G-A-T-H-L-I-N, at Comcast.net. I think we're going to show it on the screen.
It's on our screen now.
Okay. Carol McGathlin at Comcast.net. What it is, the troops that are being deployed, they can fill out an index-sized card and put their name and contact information, and they're sent an information email, and somebody back here can basically sponsor that youngin'. And if you saw the Veterans Day Parade, God bless them, all those troops looked like they were just right out of high school, and many of them are. They're young kids, young men that are going off, and young women, and they need all the support they can get. And there are things that they can't get over there. Silly string, what do they need silly string for? The troops that are doing house-to-house searches, you spray silly string to look for tripwires. Shoot it out there, and it'll fall on tripwire and disclose it. They need pens. They need good writing paper. They need envelopes to write letters back home. But you can contact through email the troop you're sponsoring, and he can tell you what he or his unit needs. And it's a great way to reach out to them. Those veterans that are back here, if they haven't been involved in the American Legion or veterans organizations, we need them to come into the fold and give back some of what they gave.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Doug, and thank you again for being on the show in 2009. We'll be back here in 2010 with a whole new show, back at our usual time on Sunday nights at 11:35. Join us then. The set will have a little different look, and we hope you have a great new year. Good night, everybody.